Hello! Welcome in, everybody. Haven't done this in a while. In case you're new around here, I'm Mike. I'm the creative director, co-founder of Cortex Brand, as well as podcaster at Relay FM. And I'm doing this stream today because we raised a ton of money for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital throughout September. And I promised that if we got to a certain amount of money that I don't remember, that I would do a stream showing off some products, some prototype products. Now, I will start off by saying some things that will never be. We begin with the things that will never be. So, over the last, Cortex Brand's been around since we started in earnest in 2019. And over that time, we've had a bunch of products. I'm going to show you kind of some of the evolution of those products a little bit. And one of the things that I wanted to get into, I don't know when this was, 2020, 2021, I got very much into keyboards, mechanical keyboards. It's something that I love. I'm surrounded by beautiful keyboards all the time. And I wanted to see the possibility of us making keycaps, desk mats, that kind of stuff. So I started a collaboration with the incredible Tim Van Dam, who's known as Max Voltar, and the problem is, so we worked on these products together. We were working on multiple rounds of keycaps together and desk mats. The problem was they took a while to come together in a quality that everyone was happy with. And then kind of by the time we got them to a stage that we were happy with, the bottom kind of fell out of the keyboard market a little bit. And it has become something that I think would require a lot of effort for I'm not sure how much reward. So this is something that I see often. I keep this keyboard built this way. Tim did an incredible job. And I will always be sad that this is not something that we were able to get going together in the time that we wanted. But it ended up becoming a conversation between me and Gray, which was like, do we really want to put a lot of our time and resources into something that we don't know if anybody's going to want? And so, shame. It's a shame. We spent a lot of time on this, and I will always feel guilty for working with Tim for so long, but then not being able to pull something together because he's a very talented man, and it was a shame. And there are a lot of those. We might touch on a couple of other things like that throughout the time today. But yeah, like what I wanted to do today, I have a few products that are existing products. I have some sneak peeks of some upcoming products as well. And I thought it would be fun to hang out, and I can answer any questions that you may have to the best of my ability, whether it's about what we do or like how we think about things. Because what I'm actually hoping is if this goes well and people seem to like it, like I would like to do something like this more often for the people that really care about what we're doing at Cortex Brand, to maybe offer them a little bit more behind the scenes about what we're doing. Because I have remained somewhat plugged into the keyboard community. Something that I like that a lot of those brands do is they do kind of like video updates to what they're working on. So I thought that could be interesting. So I think let's go chronological here. I think would be best. So I'll start off with the theme system journal. So this is the theme system journal as it exists today, which is our journal product. I'm going to try and not make this too, I'm not trying to sell to you here today, but there will be a little bit of explanation I have to give to each kind of product. This is the second edition, so I don't have to hand actually some of the first editions, but I can grab one in a minute. The first edition, which we started in 2019, we were working with our good friends Tom and Dan at Studio Neat, and we kind of rebranded and tweaked a notebook product that they made. And then in 2020-ish time, I think actually end of 2019, beginning of 2020, I tell you why I know that in a second, but I started working with a company in Europe we started from the beginning. So now I kind of learned what I liked about the notebook, about the journal, and wanted to push it forward. How would I do that? So we started working with a company in Poland to produce the journal as it is today, and it has some tweaks. The reason I mentioned I know about saying it was 2020 is because I remember we had some notebooks that were coming from China, some of the Studio Neat ones, and they were being delayed because of a new virus that was outbreaking in China in January of 2020. So I was very aware of that long before it came for me. So this is the Theme System Journal. Now, this took many, many months of iteration. So we found this company in Europe, thanks to some friends. Actually, fun thing, Kurzgesagt, the great YouTube channel in a nutshell. I had a great call with one of their merchandising people, and they were able to put me in touch with the company that we work with in Poland. They have an incredible set of products right now, and I kind of needed somewhere to go. Something that I did not expect when we started manufacturing products was actually how hard it is to get companies to agree to make your products. I always just figured you would just say, hey, paper company, notebook company, would you like to make a notebook for me? And a lot of the time I found the answer was no, which was very interesting. But we ended up getting introduced to this company. And this was the notebook that we ended up producing with them. And it has a kind of suede-y-like feeling. And my favorite thing is our corner perforations. Oh dear, that is some white balance issues. That is going to be interesting for the rest of this stream. I'm going to have to adjust that because that is no good. That's no good. Oh boy. We're all in this together, everyone, all right? This paper, the whiteness of the sun. All right. Oh my word. Okay. So what? We're working this out. We're just hanging out here today. We're having a good time. A little less light, maybe, is what we're gonna go with, and that will help. So this is the Theme System Journal with its layout. But what we really love is the corner perforations. You tear those out, and it helps you easily find. I'll show you my Theme System Journal. Mine has got the corner cut out. That's where I am in my journal right now. I love it. Does a great job for me. I got some fun stickers on the front of mine. Those stickers are all available to people who subscribe to the journal. We send them a sticker out with every one that they get. So this is the Theme System Journal as it is today. I'm going to give I think maybe if I do a little bit more light, that's too much. We've learned this is too much. Maybe if I just go for this. Yeah. Okay. I just hold it like that. Right. But we ended up, these are 3 versions of that journal that all had varying issues. So this one, just the wrong size. I don't know how that happened. I could have made an issue in speccing or whatever, but this is the kind of thing that I found with prototyping. I prototype a lot with the companies that we work with. I think that this is because of my growing experience, especially when I started doing this, a lot of an experience. And I like to... It's expensive to prototype because you're asking a company to kind of turn on a bunch of machines and make things, and the turning on of the machines is the expensive part. But I really want to understand how a product is going to look and feel before we're willing to order it. And so this was an example of something had gotten lost in communication somewhere, and the notebook is just the absolute wrong size. It also uses a different cover material. It's more of a like rubbery kind of feeling, which I didn't like so much. We then found the material that we wanted, but you'll notice that the debossing is a little over on the right there, so that was the problem with that one. This was also a paper. We're trying out different papers. So when I was in the the efforts of trying to establish what is the right paper for us to use for this product, one of the things that I wanted to do was just to use a bunch of them. And so we ended up having a selection of notebooks made in varying papers. And so this was a paper called Multi-Design 100, which I wasn't super thrilled about. And also, you won't even be able to see this. The printing, this is like madness. Okay. The actual darkness of the ink was not what I wanted as well. So we were trying out a selection of different ink darkness, I'll call it, and that was way too light, which is even more struggling for the camera here. And then this one was, we got the artwork correct, and we got we were still not using the right paper that I wanted, but the size is all correct. And we ended up doing a thing where, this is one of the key differences you'll see between the two. For reasons that I'm not completely aware of, it was difficult to get this communicated with our supplier. I was never happy with the exact placement of the logo. It would either be centered or slightly to the right. It was an issue that we were having. So we ended up putting there is like a stripe down here, which is another deboss, and it just balanced everything out better visually. For whatever reason, I was never, didn't matter what we did, I was never fully happy with just the blank cover and then the logo. And so this is the debossing that there's no, it provides no difference to the notebook. You know, like some notebooks you'll actually, they'll be bound this way, like it's part of the binding. But for the theme system journal, it's glue bound in the end here. And so we put this in because it just felt better to me, and I think it added a level of refinement to the notepad. And then we got the tiny logo on the back. So yeah, that was just a little trick, and that was this was again of like trusting your partners. Like, I was communicating to the printer that like it wasn't feeling right to me, and they were like, we have an idea, what if we did this? And I was like, I don't know, will that work? And they did it, and immediately I signed it off, and that's how we got to the theme system journal as it is today. So that's the theme system journal. I'll say, like, this is something that's not really ready for prime time yet. We are exploring some changes to the journal. Like, there's some changes I've wanted to make for a while to the inside. The product remaining mostly the same, with the rounded corners, the corner perforations, but there's some layout and maybe some changes to the cover that I've been wanting to make for a little bit to add a little bit more flexibility to the theme system journal. So we're hoping that next year, you're going to be hearing me say that a lot, next year we might be able to have a theme system version 3, which would be fun, because that would be 5 years of since we launched this version of the journal. It has already been 5 years. 2024 June was 5 years of the theme system journal itself. So now we can move on to my newest, genuinely like feels like a baby to me. Oh, that's another one. Hold on. Which is the Sidekick notepad. This is all stuff for in a minute. So this is the Sidekick notepad. This is a partly used Sidekick notepad, which is our desk pad. Sits under the keyboard. Looks like this on the front. Now, Sidekick notepad, this was like another example. So with this product, I had a spec that I wanted. I've been doing some research on some products like this, and I wanted something very specific. It's quite narrow, but long. And I wanted something that would have this kind of cover flipping over, not having anything left or right. I'd used a pano book for years, loved the pano book, but being left-handed, I would sometimes bump into the wire binding, and I wanted something that was just, this was all it was. I was also looking for something that had a bit structured of a layout. I like having the to-dos on the side and the notes in the middle, and that really worked for me. So we started going down this road. I started doing a bunch of competitor research, and I ended up with a spec that I wanted, which was basically this spec. And we went to our existing supplier of the theme system journal, and they were like, we can't make that. And so this is the thing that I'd learned. I just figured, hey, if you make paper products, you can probably make any paper product, right? No, they did not have the machinery that would be needed to do the binding that I wanted in the way that I wanted it. So we started, this was the point when I realized that maybe what I needed to do was try and find UK manufacturing. So I have a friend who works at a very cool company called GF Smith in the UK. They're a paper supplying company. And my friend Matt had been saying to me for years that he thought he could help me on products, and I was resistant to it because we were good friends, and I was worried that if he became part of our supplier chain, that it might be like difficult, and you know, like maybe I would be asking too much from him. But it's been fantastic so far. I should have trusted him long before, and he put me in touch with a selection of manufacturers in the UK to kind of put out some quotes for the product. So we ended up with a selection of Sidekick notepads that came from different places, and these were two of them. We didn't go with either of these companies for various reasons. Interestingly, it was the same brief that these two companies got, and they produced wildly different things. Actually, no, this is actually the original brief that our supplier Effie Berman provided me, or product, and this is from another company. So if this is the Sidekick notepad here, you can kind of see the lineage of it here, right? So it's a cover, you flip it around, right? And it has perforation, and then the layout. I even had the layout done at that point, which is pretty cool actually. So it was refined a little bit. You see again, I'm gonna adjust this again, I think. All right, so you'll see we moved the check boxes from the right to the left. That was actually a piece of advice from my friend David Smith, who said that all digital tools seem to have the check boxes on the left. I don't know why that is, but they do, so we swapped that around. But you see the layout is very similar, and you can see in this product, you can see the lineage there, right? You can see how they kind of got close to what I was looking for. This one, on the other hand, this was wild to me. So the cover doesn't fold; it just goes up once, and the paper was completely open at the top, which wasn't what I wanted. And also with this one, I don't know if it will do it now, but it kind of, when you would pull the pages, okay, they perforate now, but I actually think I have a third one which has fallen to pieces, which is from a third company who they perforated the pages but then glued them in, kind of like sticky notes, so you'd pull it to perforate it, but the whole page would come out. So it was like three completely different products from three companies, all with the same brief, and I found that to be kind of fascinating, to be honest, as like an exercise in how these things would be done. But we ended up working with Effie Berman, who produced what is essentially the Sidekick notepad as it was today. One of the big changes that we made, though, was this guy. So what I was really focused on with the product is that if you were to pick it up, it remained rigid. I really cared about that. It felt like a mark of quality. And we had again, there is another version made where it's using this paper, the coffee cup paper, the recycled coffee cup paper that we use, that flips over onto here, but then on the back is this. And I sat with this for a while. You can see I actually ended up using this one for a bit too. And I didn't like this. It didn't feel right. So we ended up taking a version of this coffee cup paper called Extract, and I went to our supplier, GF Smith, and I was like, can you get me a version of this that's as thick as this? And the answer was no, but maybe. So they don't make a paper that's this thick. But what they could do, and they did, is they took 2 sheets of the thickest version of this paper, and what they call laminated it together. They take 2 pieces and they glue it together to make it a double thickness, and then they supply that to us. Now, the glue that they use is a water-based glue, so the product remains recyclable, which was very important to me. So we're not going to disrupt anything there. And look, I'll be honest, that adds to the cost of our product quite significantly. But to me, this looks so much better and more professional than this. And like, there really is this, that is a tale of a lot of the way that I think about product design. I make the decisions that I think will make the product look the best, and then when we get to the end of it, we work out, can we afford to sell this product to people? Will they buy it? And that's kind of where we go. One of the other things that took a really, really long time was getting this part correct, where the perforation goes. As you'll notice on the original, the perforation, and we've been dealing with this for a while, came all the way down, and I did not like that, because that is messy, it's scruffy, and I wanted it to be basically as close to tucked in under this lip as we could get it. But then what you needed to deal with is when you pull the paper, how does it stay in here? And there is a glue that goes in the top there, and if you give this much space, any glue that's going to seep in is not going to glue the pages together, and it gives the tensile strength to, look, we have enough tensile strength that me holding onto this paper will keep it in, but then nice grab handle, and out she comes. So that Sidekick Notepad took 18 months from when we got the original prototype to working with Effie Berman to actually putting it on sale. And it was tough, it was agonizing, but it really resulted in a product that I am so proud of, and like I'm so pleased with. Like, what I love about the Sidekick Notepad and kind of how it came together is, like, to me it feels like something that I had this idea and I went out and made it. So these are the prototypes of the products that you've seen. So now I can show you some other little bits and bobs. So where is this? So we ended up making a new version of the same product. So we took what we learned through the Sidekick Notepad and we made Sidekick Calendar Companion. This is based on, my wife was like taking a notepad and dividing it up. Oh, look at this. Which of the Sidekicks has a foiled logo and which is only debossed, and why? All the Sidekicks have foil. So I will shout him out right now. Shaft 10, my friend who I said I wanted to work with, who's incredible and helpful, and I was hesitant to work with because I was worried it would affect our relationship, but it didn't because he's great. That's my friend Matt, who helped me out at GS Smith. He's the best. Couldn't do this without him. This is a foil. That is a clear foil on the Sidekick logo, same as on here. It's just, this is one of these things where you find out that is foil can be clear. They're not debossed. The application of the foil naturally presses the page down wherever the logo is, and so it has a texture to it and a foil. And this is again from working with our supplier, Effie Berman. I told them I wanted it debossed, but they were like, well, if you deboss it too much, because the paper's not very thick here, you see how it doesn't show through? It would show through. And I was like, I wouldn't like that. So they're like, well, if we foil stamp it, it will add texture to it and also provide, I think, a really cool effect. And when we were making like the promo videos for the Sidekick Notepad, getting it to do this, that's good stuff, you know? So now I wanted to, when we made the calendar companion, I wanted to change things up a little bit. And so this is a slightly different color paper, which I don't think most people would notice, but it is a slightly different color. But the main differentiator is we put a metallic silver foil on here, which I just think looks so good, you know? That's what we got. So that's the Sidekick Calendar Companion. It's been a nice addition to the product line, but really the thing was for me of like, well, we did all the work with Sidekick Notepad. How can we make different layouts? So I started working on a couple of things, actually. The first one was, so I can show you some of my... Yeah, I started working on a few different layouts for like a planner page. So you'll notice this one. I don't know if you noticed. This is, I took up some pages and I cut them up and I glued them on. So this is all like glued on, and then I made some photocopies and I was playing around with this, different layouts. and we're going to be doing essentially this layout. Do I have it here? I have more. So this is like part of my prototyping process for trying to work out like how could a daily planner look. This is kind of what I ended up playing around with until we got to this. So these are in production right now. They should be finished in a couple of weeks' time. And it's going to be called Sidekick Planner. And it's a daily planner layout. So you have one page for every day you're using it. You can write your schedule down. So we've got kind of like, you can write your time here. So like 9:10, 9:20, 9:30. You can plan out your whole day there if you want to. Then what are your 3 key priorities for the day? Little notes page, and then some tasks. Yeah, my favorite time is 9:10. Yeah, everyone loves that. It's 9 and 10 seconds, obviously. So one of the things that I really tried to do in our product design, I try my best not to presume how a customer will use the product. So I could have done a 9 to 5 broken down in 30 minutes here, but that's presuming that somebody has a 9 to 5 and presuming that they have 30-minute appointments. So I ended up just leaving it blank, and I think it's self-explanatory. People can write down, or they could not put the time at all, right? They could do it however they wanted to. And so we try and keep that pretty subtle. This is the most heavy layout that we've produced. The products before now, oh, this is hilarious. I don't know if this is a joke or not. So 8UDP, this is distracting me. I don't know if you get this a lot, but you sound like the guy CGP Grey records podcasts with. I don't know if this is a joke or not. I am that guy. That's me. I am that guy. I really hope that is serious, because that would be so funny to me. This is the kind of the heaviest layout that I've done in like suggesting someone do something, which is only having 3 daily priorities. I figure if you have more than that, you have too many priorities. So I've gone with like a 3 daily priority thing, but also you can have your tasks on the side. And I think what this is we're trying to appeal to different types of people, right? Somebody could, with the Sidekick notepad, they could just do this on their own. But I think some people like a little bit more structure in their lives, and I think Sidekick Planner will allow that. And Sidekick Planner is going to be the same color paper, but it's going to have a copper-colored logo, which I think will look real nice. So that's coming. Is it copper? I think it's copper. We're doing a copper one and a gold one, and I'm pretty sure that Planner gets the copper, because we have another layout. So if we go all structure, what if we go no structure? And I'm not kidding. This is another one. It's called Sidekick Freeform. This is what it is. Now, I couldn't bring myself to produce a plain page, because that just felt bananas to me. We have the date and the time, and what you might be able to see, maybe we have these little dots on the sides of the pages. It goes around the outside. It allows you to divide the page up into a grid. This is the maximum grid that you can draw up, but like you could put it in half in each way. You could like put it in thirds, that kind of thing. I saw some questions here, I think. Matt says, any considerations for having a selection of foiling that a buyer can pick? The problem is we don't currently have like a just-in-time manufacturing. So everything that we're ordering, like we're ordering large amounts. So Planner and Freeform are both being ordered in large amounts right now, and then they're going to be shipped out to Cotton Bureau for distribution. So I'm hoping that we will be able to put both of these on sale in November. And so then in November, we will have Sidekick Notepad, Sidekick Calendar Companion, Sidekick Planner, and Sidekick Freeform. And this is essentially, it really is, it's just a plain page. It lets you put a date and maybe a title on it. And then it is plain, except for these very subtle dots that go around the outside. This is for people that doodle. This is for people that like. We were struck, me and Gray, in a meeting. We had a meeting with our accountant, and he has the Sidekick notepad, and he was like, "I'd like a plain page." It was like, okay, this was quite a while ago, and I thought about it. I was and trying to work out how it made sense for me, and so yeah, there is no standard grid on the freeform. Two hands of blue, but I will tell you next. So if these do well enough, I have another 2 in the chamber that I've not started yet. Side is a lined version and an all dot version. So they will be the next 2 layouts that we will probably do. There's a lot. It's a lot. I don't know if we'll get there because it's an awful lot of notepads to make. But if Sidekick Calendar has done great for us, if these 2 do those kinds of numbers, then why not have another? Why not do 6? You know. Because the great thing is, because these follow the same manufacturing, we produce them all together. This is fantastic. Like they could be 6. We have 4 products, 6 products, but we can get economies of scale on them by restocking at a bunch. So like Planner and Freeform, we're adding these onto a restock of Sidekick Notepad, which is like. We have an order size. Sidekick Notepad is like 75% of the order size. And then Planner and Freeform are adding into that. So I'll say, Matt, this is interesting. So Matt says, why not do 6? Gray shivering are more SKUs in his spreadsheet. Something Gray is incredible at the spreadsheet stuff for us. And something that he has said to me is like, say like a Sidekick Calendar Companion. It's like, it's 10% of our revenue. We should have more 10%, which, it makes a lot of sense, right? Like if we can have 4 more products that make up what is the same amount here, then we've, increased our revenue by a significant amount. So as long as we can keep our logistics in check and our order numbers in check, then good. Because one of the problems we've had in the past is we've overstocked on some products. And if you're starting something from nothing, you kind of have to order a large amount to justify the product being made. But what we can do with this product line now is we can couple a few products together, make them together. If you're making a couple of hundred, 300, 400 of 3 or 4 products, then you've hit economies of scale because you're bundling them all together. So this is very cool. I'm excited about these. I'm interested to see how they go. My bet is that Sidekick Planner would be pretty successful, I think. Freeform, I don't know yet. I really don't know. I hope people that will like it. But yeah, we'll end up with 4 of them. Now, there is one more thing, as they say. The thing that I'm most nervous of and most excited about, I think, at the same time. So say like these 2 products, Planner and Freeform, they will be on sale. Well, hopefully providing shipping, which shipping is a bit complicated right now. But if they get through shipping, fine, they should be on sale in November because they should be completed in the middle of October. So there's 2. Now let me see. How problematic is overstocking? It is very problematic because if we overstock on a product, we have a couple of issues. One, we pay taxes on those products without selling them. So you have unrealized revenues. You need to pay taxes on those, which can be complicated if you have a lot. But also that is cash flow that is tied up. And if they're not selling fast enough, it precludes us from being able to do other new things. So Dustingo says, the one thing I want to see you guys make is something of this quality, but not positioned between the keyboard and the desk. I'm intrigued I have thought about maybe a smaller Sidekick notepad that could be more of like a desky thing, but I don't know about that. So yeah, I'm hoping the fact, as Diogenes has mentioned, the US port strike is over, which is good, but it will mean things are delayed. Maybe by the time our stuff ships out, that might be mostly handled, but I genuinely don't know yet. So, there was Gray wanted a pocket notebook. that was something that he was really focused on. He wanted a pocket notebook. And I didn't know. What he wanted was a pocket notebook with perforated pages. That is like a thing that he really was focused on, because it's something that he likes to use in his daily life. He keeps a notebook in his pocket, he'll write things down, tear it out, give it to someone, or do whatever. And I started going down that road, and I couldn't find anything that I liked for us. Like, the obvious thing, as Matcha Makes Things points out, is to do 3x5 with a staple in the middle. Like, that is what Field Notes do. It's what a lot of companies do. It's the general pocket notebook. And I wasn't feeling it. It didn't feel like I could add something that I was excited about from that. It felt like I would just be making something for the sake of it. And so we were kind of going down that road. I'll answer a question here. Matthew says, have you considered making a version of some of the less structured layouts that work vertically as well as horizontally? No, I had not thought of that. I guess that would be, is this nice to use like this? Maybe, and you could write down, but you see, for me, then I'm in the problem of I don't like this step. It's one of the reasons I wanted to do this in the first place, is I wanted the sides to be free. That's what I wanted. Like, I want to be able to do this, and because of, like, this doesn't get in the way. Because you use this notebook, this goes down, and if this was on the side, that's like getting in the way in my handwriting, that's not my thing. So, one of the reasons that we've been talking about pocket notebooks for a long time, and I just couldn't feel like I had anything to add to it. Until one day, I'll show you what inspired me. That is a Game Boy Pocket. I don't know why this came into my mind, but there was something about the look of this product and the thought of it and the name Pocket, which led to these guys. Sidekick Pocket. This is terrifying for me. I'm being completely honest with you right now to show these. For a couple of reasons. One, they're not being made yet. We will make them, but I don't know when. The scary thing is their colors. So I really want us to make colored products, but color is not what we've done. And so we've had some trepidation to it, and I've had some good guidance from some friends, including I previously mentioned Tom and Dan at Studio Neat. They've really given me some good guidance around this and pushed me towards just leaning into it. But the thing is, so here's the thing, for now, at least for the first version of these, it's not just 3 colors, it's 3 distinct layouts. So the blue one is a to-do notebook. The orange one is a grid notebook. And the yellow one is a lined notebook. And this is a little joke that I wrote for myself, which I'll get back to in a minute. To start with, this is how they will be. If you want to do, it's blue. If you want lined, it's yellow. If you want grid, it's orange. They will be sold in a 2-pack that you get of each. So you get 2 lined, 2 yellow, 2 to-do. 2 dot, 2 lined, 2 to-do. And the packaging is like the most... I love it so much. I love this packaging so much. So they would... Imagine these are 2 yellow ones. They come in this little guy, which you tear off and then take them out. Now, the packaging will be the same color as the notebook. We were originally considering that each pack would be 1 color and 1 gray, which is why the gray exists. But we had some good guidance to just, that's too complicated to explain. Let's just go all in on the color. So this is the beginning we're planning to place the order for these by the end of this year, and then hopefully we'll be able to put these on sale next year. So there's a few little details about this. So this is my joke. This is an apology. This looks like the Apple Notes icon. And a little yellow top with the... It happened as a chance, and then I've just leaned into it. And so this is what we're doing. So let me give you some deets. You want the deets on how these things are made. So that is, each are foil stamped. This isn't clear. They're actually foil stamped with a color. Nobody will care about this but me, but that is an orange stamp, a yellow stamp, and a blue stamp. They also have a really tiny version of the Sidekick naming up here. And we're using different materials. So the Sidekick notepad, the paper cover is made with a cover called Extract, which is coffee cup paper. And the writing paper is, by the way, you guys are filling my heart right now. I've been so nervous about this, and the fact that you're responding to it so warmly is making me feel very, very good. I've been very worried about this product because I care about it deeply and I want people to like it. And so this is making me feel very happy. So we originally started down this road with using the same materials, and it already makes it way too expensive. And so we are using a different set of materials. So somebody asks, when is a black one? So if this does well, we will consider other colors down the line of these layouts, but this is just the beginning. To keep it simple, we can see, because really we have no idea, like, will dot grid outsell to do 2-to-1? Like, we need to get some of that initial data from the first set to try and understand how we scale this up. Like, what we're trying not to do is some of the mistakes that we have made in the past of over ordering. So we're kind of keeping this smaller when we do the initial launch of it. So the cover material we're using is a product called Color Plan, which offers a vast selection of colors. It's from previously mentioned GF Smith. We're doing this because it has more colors, and it's also a cheaper cover stock. Because if we wanted to do the same cover paper, it would be vastly too expensive, especially because, I think someone asked about this, it has another thick board on the back. Very important to me that it does this. And yes, the pages are perforated. You can use a few at a time, and you can then just like fold the book up. But essentially, if you go too far, like, that is just not like a really good experience. So the idea is you will be pulling pages out. I don't think with this you need to pull as many pages out as you would do with the Sidekick notepad. You can keep a few in there, but realistically, you're going to be pulling pages out. But we're using Color Plan, which is fantastic. It's very recycle responsible. It's not recycled paper. It has recycled elements. I off the top of my head, I can't give you the stats because we've rebalanced it. This paper is a 100% recycled paper, and it is the highest quality recycled paper that I have used. Usually, recycled writing papers have like color flecks in them and stuff like that. And this paper is fantastic. I can use this paper with a fountain pen. Now, if you are a fountain pen person, you will know how wild a statement that is, because recycled papers have more fiber differences in them. This is just a natural thing. And every now and again, I'll be writing something and my pen will catch a little bit. It's hit a fiber of some kind. But like, it performs very, very well. I've been very happy. They bleed a little bit, but that is very natural. I don't think I actually have a fountain pen to hand. But I would say it's good enough, the bleed. It definitely doesn't go through to the next page, which is the important thing for a product like this. So yeah, we're using Color Plan for the covers, and this paper is called Accent. I have no idea, honestly, how the cover will hold up to sweat in a pocket. I mean, it's paper, Dustingo, so probably not. amazing, but I don't think it would be worse than any other notebook that you will have used. The cover too, it kind of flips over. It's paper, so what it wants to do is, sometimes it will want to flip up again. But what I really like about the way that we do these, if you just kind of give it a little tuck, it will stay shut. I love this product so much. They come in this little 2-pack. It's absolutely adorable. Like that. They'll come in a little 2-pack. And they are 60 pages per notebook. This was a thing that we were working through for a while. As you can see from this boy. This is the prototyping process of this notebook. Originally, we were considering 30 pages, but I just didn't feel like it was significant. Also, as well, I mean, again, because we're using these materials which are high quality, and they're sourced and managed in a good way. They're being handmade by our same producer in London. They are going to be on the higher end, price-wise, of a pocket notebook. So what I wanted to do was give as much use out of these as possible. We don't have pricing yet. I'll be honest. It's not finished. We don't have pricing yet. But I don't want to say an amount, but like they're not going to be bananas, but it's going to be on the higher end of what a pocket notebook would be. So what I wanted to do was offer as much longevity and value as I could, and so we were able to go to 60 pages per notebook. Plus, I just felt like the 30-page notebooks, with the amount of board needed to keep the stiffness the way that I like, the balance is all wrong. It's just not enough. And so this is kind of this is what the gray one looked like. As I said, because before we were thinking they would come like this. But the problem with this is it just became... the other sides are blank, because that just feels like the natural way to do it for me. You could use both sides, but they're not printed both sides, because that just doesn't make logical sense to me, really, in a way. Because you would have to take it out to flip it over to use it, and then it falls away. That doesn't make sense to me, so we didn't do that. The gray one is nice. I like it, and I hope that we can bring a gray product into the lineup eventually. But the problem we were having is, so I would say to you, this is the pitch, right? We have 3 layouts. We have to-do, dot, and grid. Every Sidekick pocket comes as a 2-pack. In each 2-pack, if you get the lined, you get a yellow and a gray. If you get the grid, you get an orange and a gray. If you get the to-do, you get a blue and a gray. It's too complicated, because what we had to explain was we had 3 layouts and 3 colors, but each 2-pack has a color, and it was too much. For what we're trying to do with this product, simplify it, get it out the door, and then we can add to it later. I would love to offer multiple colors in every layout, but what we need to do first is see, will people buy it? And this has been some of the restraint that I've had to find over the last couple of years with this stuff. But I'll show you, this is one of our early prototypes, and it kind of gives you an idea for like one of the reasons I like prototypes is I can fiddle with them, I can draw on them, I can play around with them, I can measure stuff, and like what I don't yet have is the brain to like kind of imagine how something could look, and then I don't know, just from nothing produce the measurements, the sizing. I kind of need something in my hands to then be able to be like, oh, okay, I can see that the original Sidekick logo from the Sidekick notepad is too big, because I thought it might work, but it just was too big. And so shrink it down, move it over, and then you end up with it being shrunk down and moved over. When did I start designing these? A long time ago. This has been a product that has also kind of been in development for 1.5 years, but a big chunk of that time was intentionally pausing the project. I started working on these last year at some point and kind of had this prototype over a year ago. But then Gray decided that he felt like he had a good story to tell from making a video. We kind of, with the videos that Gray makes, we don't just be like, oh, Gray, make a video. It's about, does he feel like he has a way to be able to communicate the product effectively to his audience? And he felt like he had a good way to explain the Sidekick notepad. So we decided, all right, well, let's put as much capital as we can into stocking that product and focusing there. So we had to pause the production of this so we could then focus on that. And we've kind of gotten ourselves into that space again because we've ended up prioritizing the new layouts of the Sidekick notepad, which I do think makes more sense for right now. But once we've dealt with that and once we put those on sale and recoup some of that cost, then we can go down to this. C-Mini asks, do you prepare the designs down to the millimeter for the manufacturer, or are you conveying the concept to them or another designer? I work with a designer. His name is David. He's been incredible for us at Cortex Brand. I will communicate my design to him. He'll help me kind of refine it. I usually will draw what I want or cut things out of paper and stick them out, and I will send him some pictures or some scans and be like, this is what I want. How would you help me produce this? So then he'll go away and he'll produce a layout, which we'll then provide to our manufacturer. It's very rare that a manufacturer will have particular guidance around placement, but with things like where the logos are going to go, I'll ask them, like, do you think it would look good here? But by and large, they're good at that. Oh, that's David. David's the best. I love David. He helps me bring these products to life. Without him, so like, you know, we're a big team now. It's like a lot of us. David is incredible in helping me. I mean, let me tell you right now, there's a few things. So one, I feel like I would give a public apology right now to David for the freeform. The placement of the dots around the outside, that changed like 8 times. I kept sending him videos every couple of days. I'm like, so hey, can we move them to here and like move them around here? And he's the best with that stuff. And we're very grateful to have the people that we have. Yeah, and so I'll show you. Let me grab something real quick. So this is like a sample book of color plan, which is the paper we're going to make these colors out of. What I like and I'm intrigued about with color plan is there are so many colors. Something I've wanted to do for years is offer like limited edition color versions of X product. And I think I'll be able to do that with this. And also just offer a wider range of color. So, but that is contingent on the product working. And so what I really tried to do, or what we have really tried to do with Sidekick Pocket, scale back our ambition, think about the marketing, because this was a big part of it, is communicating the message of this product was too complicated. It's like, this is stuff we're getting better at over time. Understanding how we talk about things. How do we simply explain stuff? Partial to the dot grid, but I love orange, so that is not an issue for me. Just wanted to say these notebooks are going to do great. I usually do comment. You're the best. Thank you, Surya. I really appreciate that. And yeah, subscriptions, all that kind of stuff. Like, I want to do all that stuff. We have a subscription for the journal. We've wanted to do subscriptions for other products, but we've still very much been in a, like with the Sidekick notepad, for example, in a understanding our stock levels and all that kind of stuff. We're trying. The team is growing, but we're still small, and we're trying not to run before we can walk. The most important thing for our business over the next year is we need more products. Like, it's simple, but we will be able to grow the business more effectively if we have more things people can buy. And so that is definitely where we're going right now, right? So we have 2 new versions of the Sidekick notepad. We have this guy, We have one more product that I'm not ready to show yet, but it is going to be like because it's the what's inside of it is what I don't want to talk about yet. But it is like the layout, but it is a very high finished notebook that you could use for over a year, and it's essentially, we want to make something that's very giftable, and I figure if we can get all of these products out next year, I think we will be in a really solid foundation. I'll show you what it looks like, but I don't want to tell you what's in it. That's actually works pretty well for me. It's a bit of a departure again. So color not final, but it will be a notebook that kind of looks like this. And it is a journal product. But it will be like this, and it will come in a box, which will be similar, and we'll have some like a foil logo on the front in gold. But yeah, hardcover with a ribbon. If I can I have a ribbon. I can't show you, but it lays flat. See if I can do it without. Yeah, lays flat beautifully. But for me, for this one, the layout, the actual what goes inside. No, it'd be hard corner. I don't know actually. It would probably hard corner because it's hardcover, and so you kind of need the hard corners, I think. It's a bit of a departure for us visually, but I think it's going to be a really, really effective product. Like, I've been using a version of this for a while, and I think from an emotional perspective of the customer, this is going to be our most important product. I really love what we're doing with this. The reason I don't want to talk about it, and where I'm happy to talk about these, is I think I found an idea that I kind of can't believe nobody else has done, so I don't want to talk about it in case somebody else does it. But I really like this, and it's going to come in really, really nice packaging. I'll show you that too, actually. So you can see this is our packaging kind of style now. We do this with the notepads too, where it's like you pull it, and so you'd pull that and it would open up. But what's different about this one to the other ones is it's actually a box inside, and you pull it out of the ribbon. And so like you can, this ribbon, sorry. You can kind of see how this is going to be intended to be something you could buy for yourself, but really I want to make a product that someone can buy for somebody else. I think that would be really, really nice. So yeah, I have no idea how much this product's going to be, but it's going to be pricey, but it is also one product and you use it for an entire year. So I think that will suffice. I am hoping, and I think, famous last words, all of this, well, not this, but these will be on sale next year. Because this one, all I need to do is actually do the design of the interior, and it's ready to go. Because I, again, spent over a year trying to get this done. And so, yeah, let me go put this back and see if we've got some more questions. Man, oh man, I've been talking a lot. This is a great question from Jay Bradley. Why do you and Gray not consider the Subtle Notebook more of a product in your lineup? I've heard you both say it isn't a real product. So this is more from me than Gray. The problem for me with the Subtle Notebook, so when we made the new journal, I was like, why don't we just make a notebook, right? And I ordered a large amount of Subtle Notebooks in 2020. We still have not sold out of that stock. So it was, I extended what I thought we could do with that. It was the first time that I kind of realized that products need to have more of a story rather than, hey, it's that notebook, but it's different. Like, it wasn't enough. So the subtle notebook, I'm confident will continue. I mentioned earlier that I'm working on making some revisions to the theme system journal. Once I make those revisions to the theme system journal, I will then order a new subtle notebook that is in that same specification, but we'll just order way less of them. And so the subtle notebook will go out of stock at some point soon, but a product will replace it, which will... I don't know if we'll call it the subtle notebook. I think we might come up with a better name, because again, like, that name is kind of a joke based on these guys, the subtle tee and sweater, which will also be on sale soon. But we'll make a different one. What I would genuinely hope for, is that this guy's successful enough that we can have the subtle notebook in a couple of colors. Like, that would be amazing for me. Because if I can get the changes made that I want, the new cover material that we're going to be using has color options. Like, so this is part of the reason that I want to make a change. The cover material that we use in the current theme system journal only comes in black. So I can't make different colors of it and have it have the same properties. But the new cover material that I'm looking at has lots of color options. So that could then enable us to do some interesting things. I mean, Two Hands of Blue, if you like the subtle notebook and want to make sure you got it for a while, then I guess you should probably order more. We don't have a lot of them, though, I'll tell you that. So I'll give a recap for CJDB. We have two forms, two layouts for the Sidekick family coming soon. We have Sidekick Planner, which looks like this. You have your schedule, your daily priorities, some notes and tasks. And then we have Sidekick Freeform, which is essentially a blank page. We have our date, and you can put a title at the top. And then on the side, you do have some little dots. Oh no, hold on. That you could use to cut the page up into a variety of grid layouts. Oh, Matthew, that is a beautiful idea. The yearly theme color. Woo! That would be... Do you expect to make non-notebook products? Yeah, but I don't know when. Like, Cortex Brand, it's... Like, we have not decided that we are a paper company. But right now, it's what all my ideas are. Like, it's like what our ideas are. We have a couple of things that we want to do that are completely different. But right now, we already have manufacturing partners, right? And so, like, it's very easy for us to continue making products like this. Like, I will say to Chijora's point, I don't have any interest in making pens or pencils. I don't really feel like I have anything to add to that. What I would like to do is to partner further with, like, I want to do more Studio Neat stuff. Like, I want to do a version of their mechanical pencil, which I adore. And I hope at some point we'll be able to do that. But, like, this is the Mark III, which is their mechanical pencil. This is my most used writing tool. I absolutely love it. And so I hope that maybe some point in the not too distant future we can do one of those with them as well to go along with our pens that we have. Like, for me, I just don't really feel like I have right now anything to bring. So I'm just sticking in the things that I know about. So that is currently paper goods. But I have some ideas for some other things, other stuff that lives on the desk, other stuff that... Yeah, I think the way that we think of ourselves is we are a productivity products company. And so whatever that might be is where I want to go. And that is part of why, like, the keyboard stuff doesn't exist. It isn't enough. Like, really, if we were going to be doing a keyboard, we need to have the whole thing. We can't just sell keycaps. I don't think that that's enough. So... That's not. These are what would have been the Cortex Brand keycaps. The upcoming journal. So, Dave, the new version of the theme system journal will replace the standard, which is A5-ish. So this is from Flexi46. Would you consider having UK or EU distribution as a fellow Brit? Shipping is brutal. This is the question. I think I might get this question asked of me more than I get, how are you? All right, so let me break this down. There's a bunch of stuff going on here. We work with Cotton Bureau, who are incredible to us. They're a fantastic partner. And when we started out, we didn't really know what we were doing, especially when it came to logistics. And so we asked Cotton Bureau, who are ostensibly they make clothing, if they would help us with these products. And they said that they would. So they became our partner for distribution. Cotton Bureau only have one warehouse, which is based in the US. Now, for us to then have an EU distributor, we would either need to have 2 stores or we'd need to leave Cotton Bureau, and neither of those feel like tenable things. I don't want to leave Cotton Bureau because they're very, very great to us, and I don't want to have 2 shop fronts. Part of the issue, the main issue with doing that is then we need to manage 2 sets of inventory, which we do not have the capacity to do right now. I could imagine in the future that could become a possible way of doing it, but it just isn't right now. But it's something that I want to. I believe that there will come a time where we will be like, all right, by the end of this year, we'll be able to distribute from 2 locations, right? That would be a goal, an ideal goal for us, but it's not on the cards, although it is something that I want. There's a couple of extra parts to this. So one, people say, you make these products in the UK, but then you ship them to the US and they come back to the UK. Obviously that is accurate, it is true, but every product is, not every, lots and lots of products that you buy are not made in the place they're shipped to, right? So I'm sure a lot of products that you buy that get shipped to you, even from down the road, they're coming from China, right? So there's a lot going on in the movement of products, but I understand the irony of it, right? That we make a lot of our products in Europe or especially in the UK now, but we have to ship them from somewhere, and right now it's from Cotton Bureau, and realistically the majority of our audience is in the US, which is why we choose there. The thing about the shipping prices, thing to remember with shipping prices, well, maybe not remember, a thing to know if you don't know, the shipping price includes taxes. So Europe and the UK now insist that you pay taxes up front, and it's part of the shipping price. I've done some calculations. If you were to buy our product in the UK, the price difference would not end up being that much. It would be different, but not as much as you think it might be. Because if you add 20% onto the value of the product, which is the value-added tax, and then the cost of shipping, depending on the time of year, provided that shipping is not wild, it really is a difference of just a few dollars. I wish shipping was cheaper. Shipping costs what it costs. There's nothing we can do about that. The unfortunate thing is, a lot of companies, they eat shipping costs. We're not in a position to do that. And so it is a struggle. I understand it. I know it's complicated and it's frustrating sometimes, and the shipping is expensive, but we do the best we can. And if you ever consider buying products from us, I hope that you appreciate it. And I'm sorry that it costs as much as it costs. I wish we could do more about it. Understand it's a thing that I think about all the time, and one day I hope that we can offer more solutions, but I don't know when that will be, honestly, if ever. Distribution is wild. Dave, it feels fantastic to make my own products. It's something that I can easily lose sight of sometimes. The fact that I get to use my own stuff every day is kind of incredible. I'm not trying to harp on this, but what Macho is saying is a great point. There are some companies that ship products across the world to do things and da-da-da. I'm very proud of the fact that we make our products in a way that I'm very happy with, which is like by people in, like, especially the stuff we make in London. It just means a lot to me that we do that. Yeah, I know free shipping would look good, but would you be happy if we said it was free shipping, but we charged an extra $15? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't, you know, because that is kind of like the way it would have to go. I don't really know how else to do it. MacDoof, no, this was the beginning of the stream. The desk mat, the keycap, this is part of the products that will never exist. David, that is such a great question. How long until we sponsor an F1 team? I looked into it once. I was like, how much can it be? The answer is too much. But I was interested. Maybe they go for one of the teams at the back of the grid. How much could it cost to just get your logo on a car? Too much. The cost of shipping to the so Jack out of Hope, is the initial cost of shipping to the US in the price tag? I mean, the cost of the product is inclusive of everything. Again, that's what you're paying for, right? So it's similar that the price that we pay for the paper that we use, the transit of that paper from somewhere in the UK to somewhere else in the UK, we pay that. And so the cost of the product is inclusive of shipping from the UK to the US, but per unit, that is not a high cost because of the way that we're shipping them. We're putting them on a boat, and it takes a month. It's about as bad as shipping could be. So, yeah, I mean, it's in the price, but it's not a significant price by any stretch. I think it's $1 or something is the cost of shipping from here to there. Yeah, I don't like that idea of putting the shipping price into the... Look, I just think that people need to understand that... sorry, this sounded too antagonistic. I don't like when we lose the idea of this product has free shipping, but it's not actually free shipping. So I don't really want to subscribe to that idea, really. So to answer Mikey's question, I am going to make this stream available afterwards because I think it's been so cool and everyone's been so nice and I want everybody to be able to see it. So I'll put it, I'm sure it will be available on Twitch for a while and I'll put it on YouTube too. So, yeah, I'm now kind of in there. I've shown you everything I have to show you. So I'm very happy to answer questions for a little bit. If you have them. But I would like to do this stuff again. Maybe I don't know how frequently it would really make sense to show this because a lot of stuff moves really slowly. One of the reasons I wanted to do this today is because I actually have a few products that are in a good form. This weekend, spending some time with some family, hanging out. I don't apologize for the logistics conversation, Flexi. It's something that I get asked about a lot, and so I have no problem being open about it. It's just one of these things that's difficult to ask to kind of get my head around, get everyone's head around. Shipping isn't free. So yeah, the good thing about putting taxes into the shipping cost, it means that you don't get one of those bills afterwards. You get a customs notice, and they're like, all right, now you got to pay us the taxes plus a fee, and I hated that, buying stuff from America, and you get that later on. I am happy with the idea that somebody may come to our product, see the final price, and not buy it because it's too much for them, rather than buying it and then getting a bill later on for taxes and customs notices and all that kind of stuff. I think that sucks. And so I would prefer somebody to know exactly what it's going to cost them before they buy it. I have not sent Steven a pocket notebook yet. He has seen them though, and he says they look really cool, and I will be sending him when I have enough to send. I don't have. These are all I have at the moment. Is not some for me and some for Gray. That's all we've got. But I'll be making sure. I'm going to send them out to a bunch of my friends when they're done, because I want to know what people think about this stuff. But I have shared them with all of these with them. I think Stephen was definitely one of the people that convinced me to keep the lined one yellow. So to recap the Pocket Notebooks, these are the 3 colors that we'll launch with, and each color is its own layout. So we have a to-do layout in the blue one, we have a lined layout in the yellow one, and we have an orange. So we have a dot in the orange. This is my favorite. This is Gray's favorite. This is my wife's favorite. So yeah, the only other person that's using these, my wife Adina picked up one of these from me. I've shown these to Brad, and Brad seems intrigued about them. I have no idea if this is like something Brad wants. Brad has been a great help to me as well. But what I also love about Brad is just because I make something doesn't mean he uses it, which I think is good. Oh, I should consider a podcast. So, Shumni, the reason I do the top fold over is because I'm left-handed, and I spent too much of my life with binding getting in the way, and this means it doesn't. It's something that is important to me, and I think allows for some interesting constraints. But yeah, this was something I've been very upset about is that it does not appear that Nintendo made an orange Game Boy Pocket. I have a blue one too, as I was thinking it would be funny to do like a little photo shoot with all the Game Boys. But it doesn't exist. So yeah, I hope that people react well to it. It's going to be interesting. So we're going to kind of, because we're keeping the numbers relatively small for the Pocket, we're going to launch it to our email newsletter and on our social media channels to begin with, and kind of see how people react to it. So make sure you're either on the email newsletter or following on Instagram or something when you want to know these are coming. But I am 100% sure that it will be next year, and I hope it will be early next year. The Sidekick Planner and Sidekick Freeform will be this year, hopefully towards the end of November. They're going to be completing, so I'll actually, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be sending out to our email subscribers photos of the Planner and Freeform finished. So I'm going to go pick those up next week. They will be shipping out from our factory here in October, and that's just a case of getting them there. How do you get feedback on work in progress? The majority of the feedback on the work in progress is between me and Gray. That is like the vast majority of the feedback about the product is between the two of us right now. And then, I share some things with some close friends, people I trust, like I mentioned Brad, but also Tom and Dan at Studio Neat. I share what I'm working with them because they're people whose tastes and opinions I really trust. But that's kind of really it. We haven't got so this is why I'm thinking as we move into the future, I would like to do more things like this. This is my Orion, to be able to kind of get some initial feedback from people. So yeah. Oh, that's funny. Turquoise Hexagon Sun. It's a 25 logo. Yeah, this is what the 2025 version of the Cortex logo is gonna. We do one of these every year for the themes. 22, 23, 24, and that's 25. For the Relay Discord members, Stephen bought me this sticker. Scrub Daddy sticker. These stickers, all of the Cortex stickers, we send these out for journal subscribers. They get a sticker every 3 months as well. But yeah, that's what it is just the bottom of the logo. The 25. It is a cheerful papa. But I have fun with these. I make these, a lot of these stickers. A lot of them are just like Cortex logos in different gradients. This was a WWDC one. That one's called Miami. Where's my... Oh, I don't have one on here. I made a pink logo. Oh, I gotta stick one on here. I made a pink one that I just called the Barbie sticker. This is not that one. It's a different one. I have a Cortexmas sticker. It's an orange one. And then we got State of the Apps. And then we did this one. Oh, here it is. So this sticker is the file name is just Barbie. And then this is State of the Hardware sticker that we did too. So we send those out to people every few months. Sticker packs are a nightmare of managing, so I don't feel like I'm gonna do that. So I'd say I don't really like big picture. I don't have, the only other idea is that the one that I already showed you, the green journal, is the only other thing that I don't have. So I think, oh my, I've been doing this for an hour and a half. If anybody has any final questions, that'd be amazing. If not, we'll start wrapping up. So Jay Withy, people who subscribe to the theme system journal, they get one every 3 months sent to them, and we include a sticker in that. No hint on my theme, no theme spoilers. But for Cortex listeners, the next episode is State of the Apps. Then we'll have another episode in November, more like just a regular episode of the show. And then December is yearly themes. So we're hurtling towards the end of the year now. Once we were looking at making mugs, but we didn't do it. Mugs are hard to ship. Yes, content calendar is paying off because it's also allowed us to plan stuff out, like the fact that this guy coming back this month, subtle tee, subtle sweater, subtle hoodie, 5 colors, 3 or 4 week campaign to be determined. Get ready, it's happening with a one-time-a-year sale of our incredible merchandise for you. Got loads of great colors. All coming back. Can't wait. Hope you enjoy it. Gang, this was wonderful. You're the best. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for your enthusiasm and your questions. It has filled the heart of this sometimes quiet creative director. And I feel much more confident in the Pocket Notebooks after seeing your reactions. So I hope to do this again soon. I think if I do this again soon, I may just do it on the Cortex YouTube channel, which would be fun. I'll put some more content on there. I hope you've enjoyed the jazz. I made a special jazzy playlist today for you all because I thought it would fit with the vibe. But yeah, this has been amazing. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, cortexbrand.com.